Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we read about the people of Israel beginning construction of the tabernacle. And they're beginning to make all the pieces that will later be fitted together to erect the tabernacle. And in chapter 37, we see Bezalel having the honor and the privilege of constructing the Ark of the Covenant, or the Ark of the Testimony it's called as well. And think about what a wonderful privilege that was. And this is the Ark of the Covenant. This is an artifact that people have cherished for thousands of years. And people are still looking for the Ark of the Covenant. This would be the very place where God himself would come down and manifest his glory. This was really the most holy artifact in the whole tabernacle, this Ark of the Covenant. And Bezalel has the honor, the privilege of actually constructing it. And when you think about what the Ark of the Covenant is, it even raises it to a whole nother level, because basically what Bezalel is doing here is constructing God's throne. Some suspect that this Ark of the Covenant and the mercy seat on top of it with the cherubim would have been modeled after a throne that the ancient kings would have used. Most likely they would have used a sphinx, these sphinx in which to have armrests on their throne, and these cherubim would kind of serve in a similar way, kind of giving the Israelites this idea of a throne. And Bezalel, in essence, is basically making a throne for God. And think about how wonderful that is. God's glory, his presence is going to reside on this ark that Bezalel is building. And after it's all constructed and we get into chapter 40 and the glory of the Lord comes down on the tabernacle, and you just wonder what's going through Bezalel's mind. He's like, wow, God's glory is resting on that ark that I constructed. I'm sure that would have blown his mind away to think about. But as we reflect on it and kind of think of it in our terms and the way that we kind of relate with the Lord, we can also realize that we too, like Bezalel, can build the Lord a throne. Now, before you go running out and getting your tools and your saws and everything, getting ready to construct something, of course, what I'm referring to is not a physical throne for the Lord, but a place in our hearts that can be reserved for the Lord and serve as a throne. That is, we give the Lord our hearts and allow him to come and take up residence in our hearts to then rule us from our hearts. And in that sense, we can build the Lord a throne. We can be like Bezalel and say, Lord, I've made you a place. I've made you a place in my heart where you can come and you can rule and you can manifest your presence. And you might say, well, how in the world would a person ever construct such a thing? Given that it would be immaterial, not really something that you can construct with your hands. Well, it basically, a throne in our hearts for the Lord is basically constructed with two things: trust and submission. Or we could say maybe more simply, trust and obey. If we have those two things going on in our hearts, we're well on our way to having a throne prepared for the Lord, where he can come and truly take residence and rule us from our hearts. But first, as mentioned, it takes trust. That is, if we really want the Lord to come as our King and rule in our hearts and really take control of our lives, it's going to take some trust. Oftentimes we leave our hearts closed off from the Lord because we really don't trust him. Even though we wouldn't say that or we wouldn't admit that, in essence, that's what we are doing. We're not really trusting the Lord. Because we think, well, if I really gave my all for the Lord and if I truly submitted to him and just laid it all down for the Lord, what would my life look like? And perhaps we become afraid of, is Is the Lord going to lead me into disaster? Is He going to lead me to my demise? Or what's going to happen if I truly give my all to the Lord? That's where trust comes in. To know, yeah, it's true. Maybe sometimes the Lord might lead you and I into some difficult situations and some challenges that might, be in our path as we're following the Lord. But we got to trust Him to know that, hey, if He leads us into some difficult spots in our lives, He's going to give us the strength to get through it. And that He'll supply us with everything that we need to accomplish His will in those set of circumstances. And so first it takes trust. Lord, I know if I give my all to You, if I truly submit to You and allow You to take up residence in my heart and really rule there in my heart, that You won't lead me into anything that You won't prepare me for, and that You won't strengthen me for, and that You won't equip me for. That takes a lot of trust, but that's the first step. And then the second step, as mentioned, is we submit or obey the Lord. And of course, there can be no submission unless we have first trusted the Lord. But now once we trust the Lord, then we got to actually submit to Him and say, Lord, I give You my all. Whatever You want me to do, Lord, just lead me. Lead me in the path that You want me to go. And oftentimes we fool ourselves in thinking, well, I'm living a life of submission to the Lord because I don't do this, I don't do that, I'm not involved in this type of sin, and that sort of thing. And we think we're really truly submitted to the Lord, but submitting to the Lord is not just not doing certain things and avoiding certain sins, but it's also in a very positive and an intentional way, actually following the Lord where He wants us to go, and actually accomplishing His work and His will and bearing fruit for the Lord. And that takes submission. Not just submitting to Him and doing away with those ugly sins that we used to have, but also submitting to Him to saying, Lord, wherever You direct me, wherever You lead me, wherever You want me to go, whatever work You want me to accomplish, whatever fruit You want me to bear, I give myself to You. Just lead me. Show me the way and I'll go. And if we can do those two things, trust the Lord, trust that He'll get us through whatever He leads us to, and then if we submit to Him and open up our hearts to Him and let Him direct us, then we will have a throne prepared for the Lord. And the Lord will be able to come into our hearts and be able to rule our lives, and He will truly be King. And we can say that we, like Bezalel, have constructed a throne for the Lord. And now the Lord can lead us and guide us. His presence can be with us. And we can trust Him and submit to Him and accomplish His will. And so that in the end, we can hear those words, well done and good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. I will put you as a ruler over many things. He said, enter into the joy of your master. And boy, those words will be precious as we enter into glory with the Lord. But it starts today. It starts today by opening our hearts to Him, constructing a throne for Him, and allowing Him to come and take residence and rule in our lives. So let's do that today. So with that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.